All right, what up, everyone? It's Jon Mosales here, host of the NFL Fantasy Today show. We got a super special episode. We got the Rick Kamla joining us with his crazy sports background and his entire history of sports. And we're going to go through the fantasy football, see what he likes, what he doesn't like, and we're going to try and hit all 32 teams. Rick, what's taken?
Oh, John, I'm psyched to be on with you, man. Talking some fantasy football. Can you smell it? Can you smell the grass? Can you hear the excitement? I'm a big college guy too. Sportsethos.com. A lot of my articles, QBs, running backs, wide receivers should be available for you out there. So it's right around the corner, man. I'm psyched for pigskins.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Andre gave me the note. Yeah, Rick's been doing his top 25, top 30 college players. And I can't believe how dialed in you are in college in June, considering the turnover so crazy. So that's just really impressive looking through those.
Appreciate it, man. It takes a lot of research, returning players and depth charts on our lads and piecing it all together. But look, and I'll make this quick. CFF is the wild, wild west. Everybody knows everything about the NFL. There's no secrets, okay? There's just getting it right, getting it wrong. In college football, there are secrets. And you got to, there's a quarterback for, Cal or Hawaii, or, you got to really go to all the corners of the United States and find these dudes, man. That's what I'm pretty good at.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So we're gonna hit about all 32 teams. We're gonna try. I want to do a little preamble because we don't have as much history between us. So first off, how much does college help you in your prep for the draft, for with rookies? Right, this year we got the rookie running back revolution, and you could probably give me 10 minutes on each of these rookie running backs.
It helps a ton. It does, John. In redraft leagues, it helps. In dynasty leagues, it's absolutely colossal. Knowing, because think about it. I'm trying Jadon Blue, right?
I was just gonna say Jadon Blue.
Because I know college football. I love Jadon Blue. He's undersized, but he's super quick and darty. I think he's got a really good chance to become the Dallas RB1. I know Javonte Williams is there. He was a beast in college, but he's been bustish in the NFL, hasn't really fully recovered from that injury in Denver. And he's just kind of a guy now. So Jadon Blue is a deep dynasty pick, right? I also love Matthew Golden coming out of Texas. Yeah. I mean, he was a hot shot at Texas and runs like the wind. And I think he's got a real chance to be the wide receiver one there in Green Bay. It's probably going to be Jaden Reed, but I think Golden has a chance to be that guy.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the pack. Yeah, Christian Watson's been up and running too. Devil's advocate though, so is sometimes you get too psyched on the college, or it's because this guy. What about Marvin Harrison Jr. last year? Was a projected first round pick. Legacy's got all that. Where were you on him?
So not that high on him because of the question marks with Kyler Murray. He's a rookie wide receiver. It was sort of an incomplete offense going into the year, so I didn't have a big opinion on Marv. Going into last year, I feel a lot better with him going into this year. Obviously I don't want to bog you down here, John, but I'm a big Trey Benson guy. Okay. And this comes from, comes from CFF knowledge, right? He was the number one running back for me in the 2023 draft class. James Conner, correct me if I'm wrong, is entering the final year of his deal. He's right around 30, 31, whatever that is. I feel like there's going to be a pivot to Trey Benson this year. And again, that comes from CFF. He was a beast at Florida State.
Okay, wow. So the kind of the post-rookie hype breakout. What about Blake Corum on the Rams with Kyron Williams? We're going to kind of get to all this, but just to
I look, Sean McVay. I know Sean McVay. And by the way, I'm not a Rams fan. I'm just rocking Marshall Faulk. Marshall. You know how Sean McVay rolls. Sean McVay is a bell cow coach. He gets a guy and he runs the guy into the ground. He's the Tom Thibodeau of the NFL, right? He is. And so I'm not worried about Kyron Williams. If Kyron Williams blows a tire, he blows a tire. But if Kyron Williams stays healthy, he's going to have 1 million carries and he'll be 1,400 yards, double-digit touchdowns. So I do not see a breakout from Corum this year. I do think deep if you want to attach him to Kyron, that's not a bad idea. But I thought Blake was a little overrated coming out of Michigan, right? System back, his measurables weren't great. His speed wasn't great. But he got the rock a lot in Michigan behind a great offensive line. You're mowing down, crappy Big Ten teams half the time. So I like him. I like the college resume, but I thought he was a little overrated coming out.
Okay, let's just stick on this little theme here, second-year running backs, because it was such a bad rookie running back last year, right? What we got? Ray Davis on Buffalo, James Cook unsigned.
Ooh, you just hit a nerve with me because, John, I have a thing called career year theory. All right, and I know you've got Saquon Barkley question in here, so maybe I'll bogart that. He's not going to do what he did again. Nobody does, John, and everybody watching. All of the 2,000-yard backs in the history of the NFL, look at the back of the football card. They have either sucked or diminished greatly that next year. Every single one of them, John. Saquon Barkley's not going to be an outlier here, okay? I see some kind of doing and some kind of injury and something going on here. And so I'm looking at the backup in Philly. Same exact thing with James Cook. He went off last year, career year. And that ain't happening again. You see it, Raheem Mostert in 2023. What do you have, 20 touchdowns, whatever? That was the most obvious fade going into last year in the history of fantasy football. And I feel that way with Saquon Barkley and James Cook. They will not be on any of my teams this year.
Okay, this is my first stump.
So I do like Ray Davis. John, sorry to interrupt. So I do like Ray Davis sort of through that back door. Because I liked Ray Davis at Kentucky. I liked him in small spurts last year. So Ray Davis is a very, very good sleeper for me this year.
Here's my first stump the Rick question. What percentage of career touches did Barkley have last year? So of his career, what percentage last year were his touches? Take a guess.
You mean compared to his career?
Yeah, 2024, just all those touches was what percent of his entire career?
Oh, good question. 20%.
24, right?
Wow. Wow. That's insane, dude. John, that's a great stat, man. That's a great stat. I like the way your brain thinks because that's not on Twitter every day, bro. That's a deep one right there.
Yeah, I was just going, okay, so we're gonna do a quick hit, but because you got all this knowledge, I wanted to go, what's your general philosophy with fantasy? QB heavy? Do you look at the O-lines? What are you looking at when you're trying to decipher who's gonna hit, who's gonna miss?
Talent meets opportunity, John. That's what I'm trying to target. And that's what every fantasy decision is about. It's about talent meets opportunity. Offensive line is huge. Think about Detroit, right? Detroit is Detroit because of their offensive line. They're protecting Goff. Goff sucks when there's pressure. He caves. He doesn't want to get hit. When he's upright and protected, he slings. He's a talented thrower of the football. And then obviously Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery, they have all kinds of lanes because of that badass offensive line. Of course, the offensive line is very, very important. And it's all of it. But in terms of quarterbacks, John, I believe every league should be a 2-quarterback league because then the quarterback position is super relevant. It completely puts your draft in a blender. Okay, at any time you're taking QBs and runs and wides and tights and all that kind of stuff. In a 1-quarterback league, I mean, shit, I'll fade. John, what are we doing then? We're taking Josh Allen and Hurts and these Lamar in the 4th and 5th round, right?
It's early. It's moved up, but yeah.
I mean, well, for me, I'm a guy. I stack running backs and wide receivers. And John, there are so many wide receivers. There are. I mean,
stuff.
You can go to 40, you can go to 45. I still like that guy. Okay, so I'm a guy that
you can go to 85, and I still like guys.
So I take running backs early, okay, because it's not. I know that maybe there's more stats from the elite wide receivers, but I feel like I'm still getting Pickens and all these guys a little bit later, right? And I love Pickens in his new spot. So I'm looking to get a Henry. I'm looking to get a Bijan. I'm looking to get a Kyron. I'm looking to get stacked 2 backs. Then boom, boom, boom. I'm taking 3 wides, and then I'm going to make the rest happen. Because I can go get Njoku. I can fill my tight end spot with him. And I feel like if Flacco's going to be the QB there, Njoku's going to have a big year. Flacco loves throwing to tight ends. So that's kind of how I go with it. I'm a big running back and wide receiver guy, and then I kind of fill in the rest.
Okay.
John, Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is going to be a great value, I feel, this year. Do you feel like he's going to be drafted as a QB1, or do you think he'll fall in a 1-quarterback draft? Do you think he'll be 1 through 12?
He's probably around QB 14 right now, I think.
You know what I mean?
So, and see 1 QB leagues. Give me Caleb Williams, give me Jared Goff in probably the 9th and 10th round. And it's I'm going to get top 10 production every week, and it costs me nothing. It's stupid.
And you're going to have sick running backs and wide receivers.
Yeah. The rest of my team is stacked. Okay, let's jump in. We're going to try hit team by team. We'll start AFC East. Let's start Buffalo Bills, right? I gave you a little kind of prep sheet. Where are you with the Bills? Because they've kind of taken that KC mold where they're run heavy. They're not really airing it out. Josh Allen led the league in lowest interceptions. And they're kind of a boring team that just does enough to win.
So we already talked about James Cook. I feel like this is going to be a Ray Davis season. The only thing I want to, we all love Josh Allen. Josh Allen's a freaking beast. He has not slowed down, with running, which thank God. I mean, why? Why neuter your guy, right? I'm a Khalil Shakir guy. And I feel like I love slots, John. I love slots. Okay. I love the volume. I'd rather have the 80, 90, 100 grabs than like a 10 touchdown guy. Give me the grabs, man, because they're there, the targets, the volume, it's there every week. You can rely on it, like a Wes Welker type. I love guys like that. And so I feel like Shakir, and I feel like there's more there. He missed some time last year. I just feel like there's more of a pop season, and the arrow's still pointing up for him. He has not had his career year yet. So, the other wide receivers, Keon Coleman is intriguing, but is he going to pop this year? I don't know. I'm not betting on it. So I like Ray Davis and Shakir in this offense.
Okay. I actually like Keon Coleman, right? You get the sophomore wide receiver bump. You pair him with Josh Allen. His yards per catch were great last year. But I read some stuff. His separation is like the 1 percentile. It's like the worst separation in the league, which isn't great for an extra season.
Well, he was a 4.6 coming out, and I had concerns about that, John. I'm a big 40-time guy. I don't know if you are. 40 time to me is huge at running back and wide receiver. I'm huge with it. I mean, I love the 4-2 guys, the 4-3 guys. I always go for those guys because I know that they're freaks and they're special and they're going to there's going to be a lot of green grass around those guys. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. But I remember, who's the guy since he drafted wide receiver? I forget his name. I think he had one of the fastest 40 times ever. And then
Ioshavich, right?
No, not recently. This was like 10 years ago. Sorry.
John Ross.
Yeah, John Ross. Yeah, I can never remember his name.
Yeah, he was a 40-time guy that didn't work out. But like Matthew Golden, for example, is a 40-time guy, and I think he's going to work out.
Okay. And then, do you know, because people are taking Josh Allen before Lamar in drafts. I asked you this question in the research, so you might know, but how many more points do you think Lamar Jackson scored than Josh Allen?
Well, I looked this up. I'm in a dynasty league called Ocean, and Lamar had 1,065 points. Josh had 911. So that's a pretty big gap between those two guys. And I love them both. I think I would rather have Lamar Jackson than Josh Allen. I just think Lamar is at a plateau right now. I don't look at that as a career year. It's just another phenomenal year for the phenomenal Lamar Jackson. So I would take Jackson over Allen, but I love them both.
No, for sure. But then Allen can get those spike weeks. I think he had about 25% of his whole fantasy points in just those 2 games. That Lions Rams game.
Wow.
Okay, let's go on. So we'll go Miami, right? So they just traded Jonnu Smith, so they don't have a tight end. Devin O'Shane is kind of the new Alvin Kamara, but Tyreek Hill, is he more likely to have 800 receiving yards or 1,600?
1,600 because I'm a huge Tyreek Hill guy. I don't think he's going to have 1,600 yards, but you're giving me this choice. Okay, I think he's going to have a badass year because he's Tyreek Hill, and because I feel like the walls are caving in on Tyreek Hill, right? The off-field trouble, he's in his 30s. How much longer are you playing? Hopefully he's realizing this stuff because you see the disrepair that Antonio Brown's life is in. That should be a model what not to do for Tyreek Hill. So this is a huge, huge year. This is bro, are you headed into retirement or bro, are you headed to the Hall of Fame? So I feel like he's going to ring the bell this year. I really do.
Wow. Okay. This is our first fight. I couldn't be more, I couldn't be more opposed. I got this whole thing, wide receiver age cliff. When you hit it, I'm out, right? Cooper Kupp last year couldn't do it. Mike Evans this year, Godwin this year. I'm out on all of them. Devontae Adams. I'm a never Tyreek guy because I just think, when does a guy turn 30, have a down year? He probably had 2,000 yards 2 years ago and then actually bounce back. I'm not betting against Father Time.
I like it. We've all got these little rules, right? I shouldn't call them little, but we've all got my career year theory. You've got this rule with, what is it, 30 or 31? Is it?
It's 31. It's 31.
Okay.
Because but it's also there's different little things, right? If you're injury prone and what did you do last season, right? If you hit 30, 31, you had a down year, I'm out.
So are you out on Mike Evans?
I'm out on Mike Evans. I know.
Wow. I am a gigantic Mike Evans guy. One of the most consistent players in the history of the NFL. You know all this, John, obviously. I feel like there's another grand and 10 from Mike Evans somehow, some way. I mean, he's got, obviously the system. Baker's cooking down here in Tampa. They played just down the road for me. I am not a Buccaneers fan, but I'm considering it.
Yeah, they're fun.
I'm considering it because it's real. I'm a huge Mike Evans guy. Have been for a long time. So I'm still rocking with my boy Mike Evans. But John, if he sucks this year, the first guy I'm going to think about is you.
Perfect. This is one of my other rules. I'd rather be early than late. So I'd just rather get out on him. He got hurt last year, had the hamstring. He kind of looked slow to start the season. They're really deep at wide receiver. They lost Liam Cohen. I'm out. Okay, let's go on. So Miami. Okay, the Jets. Are we buying the dip on the Jets, right? Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson were like top 10 picks last year. Now they're more like top 30. Justin Fields is in town. They're going to be run heavy. Where are we at?
Fade. I used to be a Justin Fields guy. Loved him at Ohio State. I've sort of tried to maintain the faith, and I'm blaming Nagy, and I'm blaming all these guys, right? And you know what? He sucked last year at Pittsburgh, man. Throwing the football. You saw it, John. I mean, like, you're like, bro, what was that? You know what I mean? Like, throws like, you're like, dude, you look like a backup out here. Okay. So I want Justin Fields to succeed, but he's not an elite passer, not even close to it. That's going to hurt Garrett Wilson. Okay. And the fact that he's such a run strong quarterback, I think is going to hurt Breece Hall. So it's just a massive fade. Yeah. It's a massive fade across the board. Also, the Breece Hall thing, John, seems like this is his last year. Seems like the Jets want him out. Like they're not really that crazy about him. And you've got Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis, who I've kind of been loading up on, especially in Dynasty, because I'm sensing a Breece Hall injury, exit, trade, something. There's discord there, and I don't like it.
Okay, I'm the same thing. I don't like the Jets because I don't like the turf. I don't trust that turf. Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles in like 3 plays. Again, everyone's just gotten hurt in that turf, so I'm out. But Breece Hall, I mean, they're going to run heavy. Do you know where the Jets ranked in runs per game last year?
Actually, I've got that stat, John. The Jets.
Well, I know, so you don't need to.
Yeah, they were 17th in rushing attempts last year.
I'm pretty sure they were last.
Where's my stat here? I guess
this is good TV. We're both Googling.
I guess I got the wrong stat. So I'll go. Yeah. I'll go with you on that, John.
21.4 runs per game, 32nd.
Well, that's changing this year for sure.
Yeah. But that'd be one of the reasons to maybe buy on Breece, right? If they go now to run heavy with Fields. We've also seen running backs really blossom with running quarterbacks.
We do. I just, like I said, I'm getting like the Najee Harris, Josh Jacobs, like we don't really want, to go deep with you. And I don't know. This is a huge year for Breece Hall. Like if he rocks and rolls, the Jets will pay him. And if he doesn't, I feel like he'll be on a new team next year. Okay.
So now we got the Pats. They are kind of growing as a sexy pick, as a kind of fantasy sleeper. O-line's better. They got Vrabel. They got Travion Henderson. They got Kyle Williams. That's who the wide receiver.
Do I have Kyle Williams on here? Yeah, there he is. Deep. So I'm looking at New England here. I'm a big Drake Maye guy. I'm a big Travion Henderson guy. But like in college and like talent wise, yeah. but are they going to be fantasy football studs this year? I don't know about that. I mean, think about Drake Maye, who he's got to throw to. Stephon Diggs, what's going to be left of him? I'm sure you're fading the SHIT out of him. You've got Douglas, pretty good.
I like him. Little pop, yeah.
Pretty good. Like, he's okay. Matt Collins, like, Matt, and Boutte and, let's see, Bourne, Polk, Baker, Kyle Williams. Like, they got a bunch of guys, bro. I'm not like, ooh, yeah, that's the guy. So I don't really like their wide receiver crew. Hunter Henry's your tight end. He's 1,000 years old. And so, no, I'm not seeing it. I think next year, ask me that question next year and you'll get a different preseason answer because I think Stevenson's going to eat away at Henderson. I think that looks like a split backfield to me. And Drake Maye is going to have better numbers this year than he did last year, but I don't see like a big old pop. You asked, will Drake Maye be closer to Kyler Murray's numbers last year, floor or ceiling? And for me, it's ceiling. When Murray had 3,800, 570 rushing yards, 6
You're
touchdowns.
asking my own questions to yourself.
Well, I don't know, John. I'm just trying to go fast here. I'm not trying to.
Okay, we're going. But right, we got Drake Maye. He's going QB 17 right now. Well, I just think he has potential QB like top 5 upside. If he's getting 600 rushing yards, if he gets to 3,500 passing yards, 25 passing TDs, 5 or 6 rushing TDs, all that's plausible to me. And that is going to be a massive fantasy season. He's the only dual threat QB that's that far down the ADP list, and I don't understand it.
He probably will outperform his ADP, but top 5, I'm not.
Yeah, small chance, but
yeah, I'm not jumping into that boat with you. But
okay.
but I do see him exceeding his ADP. I do agree with you on that.
For me, Drake Maye is the must draft QB of the season because of the draft capital and the ceiling. So
love it.
Okay, let's go. We got Baltimore Ravens, AFC North. So they were absolute powerhouse. The defense was terrible to start the season. Then it became the best defense in the league. Do you know how much Derrick Henry improved his yards per rush from his last season in Tennessee versus last year, his first year in Baltimore?
I don't have that stat in front of me, but I would imagine there was an increase last year.
I think it's 1.6 yards.
That's massive. And especially, I mean, how you feeling about him, John? He ain't a young dude,
I think he's the exception, generational talent. I mean, I'd rather bet it on Derrick Henry. I got a long history of Derrick Henry. He's had like 8 games under 100 rushing yards in the like 3 years. I've bet his over on all of those 8 games.
So I have he's an all-time great. He's not a Hall of Famer. He's an all-time great player. We're going to talk about him, maybe not with Emmitt Smith and Walter Payton and Jim Brown and LaDainian Tomlinson. He may not get that high, but he's an all-time great, and he may get that high. So all-time greats, John, and I play baseball, basketball, football, all these fantasy sports. All-time greats just don't suck. They basically play until they want to go home to their family. And Derrick Henry's that guy. There's not going to be a dip in Derrick Henry. He's going to be badass King Henry until he decides to take his cleats home. And I'm going to ride that wave. Last year in a IDP Dynasty League with a lot of like the Sirius XM fantasy sports radio guys, a dude offered me Derrick Henry for a 2nd-round pick. I mean, I snatched that.
Oh, you got
and that was heading into last year, right?
Wow.
I'm a huge Derrick Henry guy. I'm like, F yeah, I'm giving you a 2nd round. I would have given you a 1st-round pick for Derrick Henry. Yes, give me. And that trade was huge for me last year, and I had a really good draft heading into this year. So I feel like I'm going to be one of the big boys in that league, and Henry's a big reason why.
Okay, well, I think it's pretty easy to both like Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. Let's go a little deeper. Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, or DeAndre Hopkins? Where were you with that? Obviously, you know where I am on Hopkins.
I mean, yeah, Hop is what's he going to be? 750 yards, 5-6 touchdowns. I mean, he's just going to be kind of out there with occasional plays. I like Zay Flowers. I like Zay Flowers a lot. Rashad Bateman, is this going to be the pop year, John? We've been waiting on this pop year for years, man. It does feel like
he popped last year. He was really good.
I mean, I agree. I mean, a pop year for me is like 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns, 85 grabs. Like some kind of season like that. I'm not sure we're going to get that from Rashad. So I think it's going to be really blended with Bateman, with Hop, with Andrews, with Likely, and I think Flowers will stand out as the beacon guy there.
Okay, so what about a tight end, right? Mark Andrews, he led the position in touchdowns last year with 11, started slow, but finished terribly. He had that fumble, he had that drop. Likely's the guy they went to, right? He scored the touchdown versus the Bills. He almost scored 2 touchdowns in the first game with the Chiefs. He was a tight end week 1. Is there going to be a transition? And is Likely at that tight end 21 the best value in all of fantasy?
Yeah, maybe. I can rock with you on that. I think I'm a believer in Mark Andrews. Loved him at Oklahoma. Obviously, he's had a fabulous career. Like we talked about with some of these guys, this is a make or break year for him. I mean, you better bust ass or likely he's going to take your reps, and Baltimore will probably move on from you. And I still look at Mark Andrews as a potentially elite tight end. I mean, obviously he was once an elite tight end. So I'm going to rock with him one more year, and then he'll be on the dead to me list if it doesn't work out this year. But I'm going to rock. Like, I'm not reaching up to get Mark Andrews. I want to make that clear. But if because of the likely thing, if Andrews slides a little bit and I'm full at running back and wide receiver, maybe I got my QB. Damn, Andrews is still there. Boom, I'll take him.
That's fair. That's fair. See, I like to try and predict the future to get the value. So that's why I'd rather be early than late. But a lot of the times you're wrong, and Andrews is going to have 10 touchdowns again because he's 29. He's on the Ravens, and he's always open because teams got to cover Lamar and Henry. Okay, let's move on. So we got the Cleveland Sack Browns, right? We got Joe Flacco in town, but where do you know where they ranked in passes per game last year?
So 661 attempts.
Oh, wow. Okay.
First in the league in passing attempts.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes. Well, John, when you're down by 20 points every game, you got to throw the rock. You know this.
That's true. That's true. So where are you in Cleveland? They're a joke. They still got the cap hit to Sean. We don't have to talk about that. The Quinshon Judkins, right? You probably got an opinion on him.
I love Quinshon Judkins. Love him. I don't really see a lot of competition here, John. Jerome Ford. I don't know. Who's their third guy? Where is he? Third guy is Dylan Sampson, who I liked. Dylan Sampson helped me out a lot in college football fantasy. God dang, he was good last year in college football fantasy. And I like him. Had a good 40 time, but he's their third guy. I don't see a lot of competition here, John. I think Judkins is good to go for about a 1,200-yard, 10-touchdown season. I think he's going to be fantastic.
That's pretty good. Jesus. Okay. So for me, for the Browns, I was huge on Cedric Tillman. I picked him up off the wire. He had like 3 games, about 100 yards a game. Concussion, season over. Obviously, he got the Jameis bump, but he was outperforming Jerry Jeudy in that time. Now, Tillman's going as like the wide receiver, like 70. It's something ridiculous. Do you see value on him there? He was a rookie last year, so you probably got a little college scoop. Cedric Tillman is my maybe top 5 sleeper for fantasy.
I love Cedric Tillman. He was a bad boy at Tennessee. A big play guy waiting to happen. He had a good 40 time. He's got a big body. I'm a fan. And look, Joe Flacco is a lot like Jameis Winston. And John, I'm speaking more to the audience than you. You know all this stuff. But Joe Flacco is a downfield passer. Jameis is a downfield passer. That's awesome news for wide receivers. So I see this working out. I really do. I think Jeudy does fall a little bit into my silo of career year theory, right? He's never had another year even close to what he had last year. And I am fading him this year, but theoretically he should have good numbers, right? If Flacco's the guy. But Tillman, I think, is going to have a very, very good year. And the word is Deontay Johnson's going to win that slot spot. Thrash also kind of lingers there a little bit. I think Tillman's going to have a big year. I think that's well spotted by you.
Okay, nice. Okay, now we got the Cincinnati Bengals, right? I asked, where were you last year? Because we had the whole, water bottle incident in preseason, and a lot of people just pulled shoot because Bro got hurt the year before. Did you ignore that? Did you bought in? Because if you had any Bengals, you pretty much were in the playoffs.
I had a lot of Chase Brown last year. I'm a big Chase Brown guy. Again, Illinois rock star, great 40 time, and Zach Moss was his competition. He kind of left him in the dust, and I love Chase Brown. And he's the new Joe Mixon in a Joe Burrow offense. I mean, so every year there's going to be like 15 touchdown potential. I don't know if he'll get it, but that's a potential every year. I love the Bengals. I think T. Higgins is going to have a phenomenal year. I do see Chase coming back to earth a little bit. Again, career year. Chase is a top 5 pick. I'm not saying that, but I don't think Chase is going to go as crazy ballistic as he did last year. I mean, that's one of the put it up on a pedestal Hall of Fame wide receiver seasons of all time, and I don't think he's going to do that again.
I think he had like 5 more fantasy points per game than Justin Jefferson at number 2. Do you know who is number 3 in fantasy points per game, a wide receiver? It's a trick question. Well, maybe not trick, but.
No, hit me.
T. Higgins.
Damn. Are you serious, dude?
Isn't that crazy?
Right. That's crazy. I know he missed a bunch of games. Okay. So Dude, I love T. Higgins this year. Do you love T. Higgins this year?
He's played 12 games in back-to-back seasons, and he's the guy who does that thing where he'll play hurt and then give you no points. So I'm a little bit burned by Higgins, but I like going a little deeper, like the Yosevas guy, right? He had a pretty good season. I could see if Chase or Higgins got hurt, he could have a top 30 wide receiver season. I don't think I'm investing in the Bengals this season just because the price is just so high on everybody.
Wow. Not mad at that. Not mad at that. Yeah, I could see. I mean, Burrow's the guy, man. So I could see those guys being overdrafted. Like I said, Chase is a bit of a fade for me. I do want some T, and I do want some Chase Brown.
Okay, great. Boom. 2 divisions down. Okay, the AFC South, kind of the worst division in football, but now they got all these franchise quarterbacks. Let's start with Cam Ward. You got to have big Cam Ward opinions. Is he going to be more like Jaden Daniels or more like Breece? Oh, my God. The Panthers quarterback?
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young. Oh, my God. What's he going to do? Is he going to revitalize the offense? Because he's kind of being very underrated right now for, all his talent.
I've even found I've done a couple of dynasty drafts, John, and one of them was a rookie draft for an established league. The other one was like a reset. A 16-team league got shrunk down to 12, and Cam Ward was on the board forever. And I don't really understand it. I love dual threat guys. From the Drake Maye take, it sounds like you love dual threat guys. If you don't love dual threat guys, what are you doing? Okay, they're 2 players for the price of 1. So I like the weapons around him. I think Cam Ward's a hell of a sleeper, and I think we are going to enjoy, John, watching the Tennessee Titans offense this year.
Wow. Okay, another trick question. What wide receiver led the league in air yards last year?
Was it Calvin Ridley?
You figured out the game. Yeah.
So I just I didn't know that answer, but I just deduced it with
Isn't
your trickery,
crazy?
John. I'm getting onto your trickery, John.
So it's like, Cam Ward, everyone tells me he's got a cannon. It's pretty much a single wide receiver room, right? And,
right.
Calvin, he's 29, so he's right close to my age cliff theory, but he's going really late, and he could easily have like a 1,300-yard season.
John, you know what I love about Cam Ward? He's a little Caleb Williams-y. He's real loose with his arm, and he's just got a real sort of rubbery arm, dude. It's not like one of these really mechanical and what that leads to is ad libs, right? You're on the run, and you got a defender on you, and you got to throw the rock. Like he's good at escapability, and he's good at random plays, and he's very creative. And I love the whip. Cam Ward's going to be a good NFL QB, man. The hype is real, and he's not going to be a bust. And by the way, I told everybody, screamed it from mountaintops, Will Levis is going to be a bust in the NFL. I mean, nice. I effing knew it, bro. And he's got a strong arm, but he's got a screw loose in his head, and I don't mean like he needs.
Well, he does that Caleb Williams thing, but the bad way.
Exactly. But I'm not saying he needs to go see a psychologist. I'm just saying he's mistake prone, kind of like Jameis Winston, right? Like he'll make a big play, like, oh my God. And then throw right to a defensive end right in front. You're like, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? So yeah, I'm not a Will Levis guy.
Okay. So we talked about the Chase Brown, and I already forgot the other running back who was on the Bills that was starting last year.
Zach Moss.
Zach Moss, right? So we got another one here with Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears. Tyjae Spears was a top 12 running back in the fantasy playoffs. Where are you? Do you see that the young guy overtaking the vet, or are you Tony Pollard guy?
I'm not really a Tony Pollard guy, but I do not see Spears overtaking him. I think Pollard, what is it, John? Like a 2/3, 1/3 split kind of thing, 60-40 split. Pollard is that guy. This is why I don't have Tony Pollard. Bang, bang. I'm trying to take a Bijan and a Henry, like a Kyron, like we talked about. Yeah. I'm trying to go bang, bang with my backs, so I don't have to take a Tony Pollard in round 5 or round 6, and then he's like my RB2. If Tony Pollard's my RB4, I got a rock star team. But I don't want Tony Pollard to be my RB1, 2, or 3. But okay. he's gonna have 1,000 yards and 40 grabs and I don't know 7, 8, 9 touchdowns. I think he's gonna have just a solid year.
Okay, cool. But if you had Derrick Henry and Bijan, would you like Tyjae Spears to be your RB4?
No, I'd rather have Pollard.
Okay, yeah, obviously Pollard. Okay. So now we got Jacksonville, right? They drafted Travis Hunter. They're pretty much of a mess, but they brought Liam Cohen in from Tampa, which is about as big a bump as you can get. But Brian Thomas Jr., right? He lit it up with Mac Jones. So with Trevor Lawrence, is he going to go God mode? Like, what's his ceiling? Where do you see it?
God mode. I like that. No, I think Brian Thomas is good to go. I think he's.
Were you on him last year?
No, because I wasn't on TL last year. I was a huge TL guy at Clemson. He's one of the greatest college quarterbacks I've ever seen, John. Like the running, the throwing, the clutch, the bod, like the it factor. Like I'm really shocked that this is what we're getting in the NFL. Very underwhelmed, very disappointed. Okay. And so is this going to be a pop year for Trevor Lawrence? It might be. This guy is super talented, and Liam Cohen is a quarterback whisperer. So I think BT's good to go, dude. I really do. I think he's he should not be on the board past the second round for me.
Okay, and then Travis Hunter. Obviously, you probably watched him Colorado.
Yeah, I mean,
we don't know what he's doing.
John, he's in the Deion Sanders, Bo Jackson. He's in that rarefied air of athlete, man.
Really?
Absolutely. He is one of the sickest, freakiest, Randy Moss-ish athletes. He makes one-handed grabs. He makes grabs with three dudes all around him. He does athletic stuff that it boggles your brain, dude. And he's super fast and quick twitchy, and he's a freak of nature. He's born to play football at a high level. I don't trust snap count with this guy, John, because is he going to play defense, offense? I think personally, I'm gassing this young fella out. He's playing 70 snaps at cornerback. He's playing 70, 80 snaps at wide receiver. I mean, what is he, 22? High pick in the draft? Like, let's go. Let's use this cat. And I promise you, Travis Hunter would not, like, tap his helmet. I need to come out of the game, dude. He did it at Colorado last year. Why can't he play both sides in the NFL? But I don't think he's going to play both sides in the NFL, John. I think they're going to do the load management bull crap. Limit his reps. And so I'm fading Travis Hunter until I see differently.
Okay. Well, speaking of tapping out, so Anthony Richardson, right? We got Indy. He's got shoulder problems. He's one of the worst accurate passing QBs in history. They signed Daniel Dimes, who's not anyone's savior. But are we buying Indy because they got maybe the most stacked receiving group in the league, but no one to throw to? But now Daniel Dimes, a 6 out of 10 QB with 10 out of 10 receivers. That sounds like it could be appealing.
No, I'm out, dude. No, I'm out. I don't. Anthony Richardson should have gone back to Florida for another year. One of the most overdrafted players of all time. He wasn't even good in his 1 year at Florida. He didn't even pop, John, at all. It's one. If you have a massive college season, you want to parlay that. All right, maybe like Zach Wilson did, right? And then obviously that fizzled. But no, I'm fading Indianapolis. I don't trust these wide receivers. I used to be a Pittman guy because of the volume, but now he's like a 3 or 4 touchdown per year guy. Jonathan Taylor, I don't trust him. I think he's soft. I think when Jonathan Taylor gets a nick, he misses a lot of time. He just does. I know the book on Jonathan Taylor, huge on him coming out of Wisconsin. One of the most robo running backs in the history of the NFL when you do body type and speed and ability. He's great, but he's injury prone, and I think he's soft. He's one of those
2,000-yard guys, right?
Correct. He's Brandon Ingram-y for me, which is an NBA reference. Brandon Ingram is soft. If he gets hurt, he's missing a month, and I feel the same way about Jonathan Taylor. So I'm literally fading all of Indianapolis. I do love Tyler Warren in Dynasty, but this year, I don't know, 600 yards, 5 touchdowns. I don't think Tyler Warren's going off this year.
Okay, Josh Downs? You're going to fade my guy, Josh Downs?
I'm a big Josh Downs fan.
Okay, thank God. I was going to have to.
No. If you told me Joe Flacco was the QB of the Indianapolis Colts, I'm high on Pittman, I'm high on Downs, and I'm high on Tyler Warren. I've never liked Danny Dimes. Okay, may he rest in peace. But like, I thought they should have taken Haskins over him. And yes, I got that wrong. That was poor draft evaluation by me because the Ohio State thing did not translate at all. And again, may he rest in peace. But I hated the Danny Dimes pick for New York. What was it, 7th overall? I banged
13th. I don't remember. Yeah,
I banged hard on them for that pick, and obviously I was proven right for that. We were proven right for that.
Okay. Moving on, we got Houston, right? They were the sexy team last year. CJ Stroud breakout, right? They had Diggs, they had Nico, they had Tank. Last year, it kind of all goes to shit, even though I think they were 10-7. Are we buying? But also, do you know where their O-line is ranked?
Where Houston's O-line is ranked, I probably have that somewhere here in my notes, but I don't want to look. Hit me.
Last, worst. And they traded Laramie Tunsil, right? So they had Stroud was just getting killed. So where are you? Can you back a team with a 0 at O-line?
It's tough because that's infrastructure. That's foundation. That's what it's all built on. But I believe in a bounce back from Stroud because I believe in Stroud. And, he had that year, that amazing rookie year, a lot of hype. We probably should have seen the dip coming, right? A lot of times in baseball, you'll have the hotshot rookie and then they have the sophomore slump, right? It's not the same. They can't rekindle that spark they had the year before. I felt like that happened a little bit. But, Mixon's still 12, 13, 14 TDs. Nico's a stud. I do like Christian Kirk. I think he can get busy in this offense. Dalton Schultz is going to do his 60 grabs, 600 yards, 6 touchdown thing. I don't know. I see upside here with Houston. I do. I'm not crazy about this group, but I'm positive on this group.
Yeah, I like the team, but the defense is really good. But I have a don't let Nico get past me rule in fantasy. So if Nico's on the board, I have to take him. It's just one of my laws. So couple on Houston. Would you rather have Joe Mixon on the worst O-line in the league, or would you rather have someone like RJ Harvey on Denver on the best O-line?
Joe Mixon.
Really? Wow.
Really. Okay. I'd rather have Joe Mixon.
Big disagreement there.
I trust volume. I trust touches. I trust getting the rock at the goal line. All of that is not a concern at all with Mixon. And with RJ Harvey, you've got McLaughlin and you've got Estime. And I feel like Sean Payton is going to bamboozle the fantasy football world with those three guys. I think all three of those guys are going to get touches and be involved. I think it's going to be a mishmash backfield. I could see RJ Harvey being 50% and then Estime 25% and McLaughlin 25%.
Sure. Or
like
some random other guy who's getting another 20% that no one's ever heard of. Yeah. Okay, what about the 2 wide receivers, right? They got 2 guys from the same school, or they got the same name? Is it Jaden Higgins and...
Oh, yeah. Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins, both from Iowa State, and they can both go. I do like them both. But do they pop? Do they spike this year? I don't really see that. So let me just take a look here. Yeah, they're you still have Mechie there in Houston. Dell. I'm bummed out about Tank Dell because he was really kind of taken off. I was a fan of him. I believe it was Houston, I believe. Good 40-time guy.
Yeah,
dude, his knee got shredded.
That was bad.
Like not just an ACL. That was dude, are you ever going to play again?
There's a full CL.
Yeah. So I'm really worried about Tank Dell. I don't see Noel or Higgins really popping this year. They may make the occasional play, but I don't see them gaining traction.
Okay. All right, AFC West, maybe the best division in football. Very surprising last year. Let's start with the Broncos. I was not in on Denver. Bo Nix, you probably had a really strong opinion on. Where are you with Denver? They were a really good offense, but they don't really have a lot of weapons. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
So, we already talked about the backs, and I think overall they can be a productive group, but individually, I'm just looking elsewhere. Cortland Sutton, I think, is going to have a fabulous year. And then you've got a bunch of guys that, Mims, he was a home run hitter in college. Okay. Not a volume guy. He'd have the occasional 70-yard bomb. Oh my God, Marvin Mims. And then he would fade and you wouldn't hear from him for a week or two. And just like the NFL, Vell's okay. I wasn't a huge fan of his in college. I'm actually kind of frankly surprised he's already a starter in the NFL. That feels weird to me. Troy Franklin, Nick's teammate at Oregon, really wasn't used nearly as much as I thought he would be last year. Maybe this year it changes, but it doesn't seem like it will. Really, Evan Ingram, love him in this offense. I think Evan Ingram's going to have a fabulous year, and I love Bo Nix. John, Bo Nix is one of the greatest physical freaks I've ever seen at the quarterback position. And wow. I know it sounds like a hot take. This dude, he had a throw in college. It was so many games in my head, John. I'm 99% sure it was the Pac-12 championship game. Okay. He's in a full sprint to the right with a hard charging, would-be sacker. Full sprint to the right, throws across his body 70 yards, bro. I've never seen, like, Elway used to do that shit, bro. Way back in the day, like where you could he just tricked you. Like, you're not supposed to throw late over the middle, all that kind of stuff. And Bo Nix it was the greatest throw in college football that year. And obviously he's really good with his feet. Bo Nix is special. And I'll be honest, like what he did last year, I didn't see that from Nix, and I loved Nix. And so now the rest of his career, dude, Bo Nix is a superstar in the making to me.
Okay, we'll see. He started so slow. My buddy AQ Fresh, who's in the comments, he was telling his home road splits were crazy. You couldn't start him on the road. Then he figured it out. He finished the season really strong. And Marvin Mims was one of the best wide receivers in football the last 2 games. One of my big things is I love guys who finish the season strong, right? So Keishon Butte on the Pats, same thing. Marvin Mims, they're just guys that I'm just, I got a little tinkle for late round if, was still on the board. But like you said, home run hitter. All right, now we got the Chiefs, lost the Super Bowl. They were the epitome of the just do whatever it takes to win the game. But Pat Mahomes has had the worst season of his career. His yards ADOT keeps going down. Are they back, right? We got second-year Worthy. We got Rashee Rice. We got healthy Hollywood Brown. Where are we at with the Chiefs?
I don't think they're back, man. I don't trust Hollywood Brown. He's half man, half a season. He is. I mean, is he even really that talented? I've always thought he was a little overrated. He's got a great nickname and all that kind of stuff. But I like Rice. I like Worthy. I like these guys. I think they're going to have fine years. Major questions about their running back room. Love Pacheco, but he broke his leg and he wasn't the same last year. Is he going to get it back? You have Kareem Hunt, Elijah Mitchell. Frankly, I would probably, I haven't ranked running back rooms, but that looks like one of the worst running back rooms in the league as I look at my spreadsheet right here. Rice, Worthy, Brown. Okay, in theory, that's a pretty good 3-pack. But the problem is Kelsey. Kelsey is washed, John. He's washed. And I'm not mad that he's still playing. I mean, take the money, dude, and rack up more stats and, all this kind of stuff. But do you think Travis Kelsey all of a sudden is going to get back to running like the wind like he did a couple of years ago? I mean, the guy is stuck in mud right now. It's like he's got cement bricks on his feet.
Yeah, but also he's one of the best tight ends of all time. He doesn't care about week 1. He's playing for week 15 to be in shape for the first round of the playoffs, or they have a bye. So yeah, I wouldn't draft Travis Kelsey at all, and I'm a huge tight end guy. But I just think there's something with this Worthy, right? He had 2 50-yard bombs in the Super Bowl. Rashee Rice was getting those first 3 games was wide open every play and was catching everything. I think they said they want to get back to basics, which is Mahomes throwing the cannon. They lost the Super Bowl, so they got to change something. I wouldn't take Mahomes in fantasy, but Rashee Rice, Worthy are definitely very high on my board this year. I'm
not mad at you. I pretty much agree with everything you just said right there. It's really a shame what the Chiefs have done to Mahomes. Mahomes he's the best quarterback in the league. There's nobody any of us would rather have in a big game than Pat Mahomes. And so we should be saying the same thing about his statistics. This guy had didn't he have a 50 touchdown season? I don't have his thing in front of me. I mean, stop it. This dude, he should be 45-40 every year. Print it, put it in, just write it in before the season starts. 4,500 yards, 40 touchdowns. The fact that we can't do that is a travesty. It's a football tragedy, actually.
I don't know if I'd go that far because he won the Super Bowl 2 years in a row before losing the Super Bowl. So I don't think he cares about fantasy as much as we do. But I do agree it's very disappointing because there's nothing more fun than watching Mahomes throw 50-yard bombs.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
All right. So now we got the Chargers. We got the Harbaugh. I was not a believer. We got another rookie running back, Omarion Hampton, who I'm sure you got opinions on. Where are you with the Najee Hampton split?
I think Hampton's a little overrated. I like him. I don't love him. And this is a mess. This is a mess. Is this going to be a 50-50 split? Is Hampton going to get 60 and 40 goes to Harris? Is Harris going to be the main back by a little bit? And I don't know. This looks like a headache for me. This is another reason why I go bang, bang with backs early in the draft. So I don't have to deal with this. I may take a Najee Harris. All right. Like if Najee falls, and I know people are going to be high on Hampton because rookies always have that little sex appeal thing and stuff like that. They're new, they're shiny, they're fancy. Right. And so I feel like Najee Harris, I feel like he's going to fall through the cracks a little bit. And I feel like he's going to be a value pick and I'll be there to take him. I'm a Najee Harris guy.
Okay.
I like Najee Harris. Hasn't missed a game in the NFL yet. The guy's 1,000 yards every year. I like Najee Harris.
Okay, here's my Najee question. How many games has he missed in his career?
Bagel.
Right? Is that nuts for a running back?
Bagel. And a workhorse. And he's had injuries that he's played through. Look,
he's no Jonathan Taylor.
I'm a little disappointed in Najee Harris in the NFL. Okay.
Sure, of course.
The guy was a 4'4" guy with a gigantic body, like just built to be a stud running back and bell cow back in the NFL. And he's been good, but not great. So that's been the little disappointing part for me with him in the NFL.
Okay. We got to keep going. So this is a big one. The Raiders. They are potentially my pick for my thing is I look for the inept to competent, the offense that can make that jump. Going from Geno, from Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, whatever. I love Brock Bowers. I'm obsessed with. We're going to talk about that. But first, let's go. Ashton Gianti. Is he generational talent? Is he more athletic than Travis Hunter? Where do you rank him historically, and what do you feel this season?
He is a generational talent. I think I got these numbers right here. In college, it was last year, 300. I mean, you think this is his career, right? 374 carries, 2,601 yards, 29 touchdowns on the ground last year. And the guy runs like the wind. Every time you see him, it's a 70-yard touchdown. Nobody's even around him. He's got wiggle. He's got dead leg. He's phenomenal. Okay. He's a phenomenal back. I do worry a little bit, John, about Raheem Mostert being on this roster. I do. I think Raheem Mostert is going to eat into him a little bit. Because Ashton Giante is 5'8".
Yeah,
I have fears. No, I get it. Like he's rocked up 5'8". He runs like the wind. But NFL like shot callers and coaches are very annoying in a lot of ways. Like they put you in a box. Like you're 5'8", you can't carry the load. Well, that just because you're 5'8" doesn't mean you can't carry the load. But a lot of teams make assumptions based on your body type. And so I fear that we've got a committee back here with Ashton Giante and obviously a very capable second back in Raheem Mostert.
I think you're crazy. First, Raheem Mostert's the oldest running back in the league. He's the new Frank Gore. He got hurt week 1 last year. He's toast. Second, Chip Kelly's the OC, right? He had LaShawn McCoy, who was also a small running back, who saw what Shady did. So I think that's a little overblown, but who knows? So you're not taking Giante as like a top 5 running back. You're not taking him in the first round. You would pass, right?
He's a second round pick for me. I wouldn't take him in the first round. Look, I still like him. I just fear 5'8", getting put in the committee back box. I have fears about that, and maybe those fears are shouldn't be there. Maybe they're not going to be substantiated. Maybe they will. Look, I hope Giante has 290 carries next year. Right, full bell cow. I just fear that's not going to be the case.
Okay, so I'm with you because rookie running backs. I don't actually know the answer to this question, but who's the last rookie running back that really popped? Right, we had Bijan Robinson. I think he was like the RB8. We had Jahmyr Gibbs, the RB9. They don't really come out, these generational talents, and just explode first year. I think Saquon had a really good rookie year.
He did.
Zeke had a good one, but
Zeke. No, I think you're nailing it there. Look, I think Giante has a chance for like 1,200 rushing yards, double-digit touchdowns, 50 grabs. Like, I think there's a really, really solid year here. But but if people want to start talking about 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns, 75 grabs, I don't. That feels too much for me for a 5'8" guy in the NFL. I just don't know if the Raiders are looking at him like that.
Also, look at that division. Chiefs, great rush defense. Chargers, great rush defense. Broncos, great rush defense. It's just, those are the little edges I look for. Okay, Brock Bowers, where are you? I don't know if you're that familiar with my work. I am the tight end guy. I'm one of the last tight end truthers. I have never not had a stud tight end in any fantasy draft I've ever had. So, Brock Bowers, how early could you take him? Because I'm in a 14-team league. I'm taking him on the turn. That's how crazy I am.
He's a second-round pick if tight ends are your thing. I'm not taking Brock Bowers over a stud running back in round 2. I'm just not. I've got it. I want my bookends, and then I'm going to make it. We already kind of talked about that. So I think Brock Bowers is a second-round fantasy pick. 100 grabs, 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, all that's going to be there. I do like Geno Smith. I think Geno's going to feed him the rock, and that's going to be a big upgrade at quarterback for the Raiders. So I'm into him. I'm not a tight end guy, John. So this is just another one of those things. Like when you're banging one of these tight ends, I'm taking a running back or a wide receiver. And like I said, I'm trying to hit you through the back door with an Evan Ingram or David Njoku or somebody like that.
Which is not a bad strategy. But yeah, I'm going running back. I'm going tight end. I'm trying to get Bowers. I'd love to get McBride in the third, even Kittle. Those are my 3. And it's like, I'm not leaving a draft without one of them. Just 'cause I love the positional scarcity. And, I get 15 points for my tight end. You got 3. I just love having that 12-point leg up. Okay, well, we can go a little bit longer. Well, I guess we'll just hit the NFC East. We only covered the AFC. I wasn't shocked that happened because, it's I'd rather go a little deep than just, dive in the shallow waters. Okay, Dallas Cowboys. Where are you at? You talked about you love Pickens. They might be the most pass-happy offense. The running backs suck, although we like Jadon Blue. But CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, is that the second best wide receiver duo in football?
I haven't evaluated it, like that. I haven't gone around the league and done that ranking. I certainly really like CeeDee Lamb and Pickens there. I'm kind of a Tolbert guy a little bit. Like, I think I just think he's a talented guy, right? Like, as a third receiver. And that would be not like in fantasy necessarily, but in support of Dak Prescott, right? Like, I think if and you got Mingo there as well. Like, you've got Turpin, you've got Flournoy. You've got some good wide receivers there. I like Jake Ferguson. I love Jadon Blue. Like, I love Jadon Blue, dude. And we talked about him already. Miles Sanders is just a guy. Like, what are they going to do?
He's not even a guy.
Well, he's not even a guy, you said. He's a zombie. He's undead. He's not even a human. And Javonte Williams just hasn't been the same since his injury. So I think Dak is going to get busy this year, my friend. I really do. I think they're going to have an explosive passing attack. And I think Jadon Blue's going to catch a bunch of balls and have a bunch of zippy, chunk yard plays and become a big deal down there in Dallas.
So the Lamb Pickens, right? So Pickens, wide receiver 33, Lamb's wide receiver 3. Who would you rather have on your team based for draft capital?
Lamb. CeeDee Lamb.
Take the stud?
Yeah, just take the stud. You know the volume's going to be there. You know you're going to get a massive year. And like, Pickens hasn't put it all together yet, right? Like, he's given us glimpses. I believe he's had a 1,000-yard season, maybe 2, but I think it's only 1. But hasn't spiked in the touchdown category. I feel like with George Pickens, I watched him at Georgia. This guy is a stud. George Pickens just needs to be put up to bat in a situation where he can go 80 grabs, 1,100 yards, 8, 9, 10 touchdowns, a la Nico Collins in Houston. I don't feel like, because the QB thing in Pittsburgh was weird, and you know what I mean? I feel like with Dak Prescott, if Dak's healthy, that George Pickens is going to have his career year this year.
I'm all in on Pickens. I think it's like Saquon Barkley last year, right? Barkley went from the Giants, the worst O-line in the league, to one of the best O-lines. Now he's going from Justin Fields and Russell Wilson to Dak Prescott, and he doesn't even have to be the number 1. He's getting the second best corner because they got a double Lamb. So I just think his yards per route can be crazy. His touchdowns can be crazy. 100-yard games are going to be crazy. I'm all in on Pickens. He's my top wide receiver 2 that you could target. based on ADP, right? Obviously, Higgins probably going to have a better season, but I think it's going to be close.
No, I like everything you're saying there. I agree.
Okay. So we can go, a little over an hour?
Yeah, we can. Where's Andre? Where's our boy Andre? But yeah, we can go a little bit longer. I got an NBA podcast coming up here. But
Okay, well, let's finish the NFC East then. All right, Commanders. Are they this year's Houston, right? Sexy team that overperforms, franchise QB, but a little sophomore slump, right? He's a little, it's not that much talent. Terry McLaurin, who everyone loves, had a career year theory. Where are we at?
So that's where I'm at with Terry McLaurin. He had 13 touchdowns. He had 18 in the previous 4 years. I like Terry McLaurin. He's going to have 1,000 yards, 75 grabs, 5, 6, 7 touchdowns, right? Maybe like 8, 9, but it's not going to be 13. That was a franchise record. And John, I know that you know that, but
I didn't actually know that.
That ain't going to happen again. McLaurin's not going for 13 touchdowns again. So, I would take him late, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. People are going to reach, Jaden Daniels, very sexy player and stuff like that. Daniels is phenomenal. I love him. But I'm not mad at you bringing it up. Okay. Nobody saw Stroud really kind of, nose diving a little bit in year 2. That sophomore slump thing is real. I do think that Jaden is a little more insulated from it, John, because of the rushing ability. And so that could mitigate, some stat lines, kind of salvage maybe a bad passing game with, a late rushing touchdown. And we're all like, yes, thank you. We needed that, right? To get, if you're a QB, you got to give me to 20 fantasy points, right? So if you're fourth quarter in that final garbage time drive, you're at 15, give me that TD, get me into 20 points, man, at the quarterback. Is Deebo Samuel washed, John?
Yeah. How old is he?
I don't know how old he is, but he's looked pretty freaking washed the last 2 years.
He's aged Cliff. He's deteriorated Cliff. He's broken down. Deebo used to be my favorite player, but I'm not taking these older wide receivers who switch teams late in their career. I'm just not doing it. It's just a hard rule for me. Sometimes you get burned. Devontae last year was really good on the Jets, but Deebo, I'm out. I'm just out on the Commanders. I'm not taking the year after Pop. I'm not paying the price.
I'm not mad at you at all. I'm not. I really like where your head is at. You've got Deebo Samuel, Noah Brown, Luke McCaffrey. Zach Ertz did have a good year last year, but he's 100 years old. Does that happen again? You've actually opened my eyes, John, to some downside with this team. I think that's well done by you.
Okay, let's talk about upside. We got Philly, won the Super Bowl. We're the best team in the league by a mile. Do you know where they ranked in passes per game last year?
I did look that up. Philly, they were, I believe, last, 32nd, 26 passes a game. Not good. Right?
So is A.J. Brown overrated for fantasy? They got this great duo, but if they're not throwing the ball, why would you invest in them?
A.J. Brown, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, he's 7, 8, 9, 10 TDs every year. He's 1,000 yards in 5 of his 6 years in the NFL. Not the greatest PPR guy, because he'll be like 75 grabs, maybe 80. He's not 100 grab guy. I will acquiesce. Maybe he's a little overrated. I will acquiesce to you on that. I will still mess with A.J. Brown though, right? Okay. He's not like on an off list for me or anything like that. But I'm also not like super geek to go get him. And I do feel like he's a little bit overdrafted, to your point. Now, Saquon Barkley, John, this is a massive fade. This is a massive fade. Coming off a 2,005 yards. Stop it. Saquon Barkley, I'm going to say he's not even going to have 1,500 yards. I don't even know if he's going to have 1,300 yards next year. I really see you're coming off the Super Bowl. You're coming off a 2,000-yard season. This screams like crash back to earth for me. And he's been an injury-prone guy. So I will not have Barkley on any of my teams.
Okay, but what are we talking? So you first overall, you're not taking him, but what if you have the 8th overall pick? It's Bijan Robinson or Saquon. What are you doing?
Bijan, for sure.
Okay. Henry.
Yep.
Giante or Saquon Barkley?
I'll take Giante.
Wow. Okay. I'm with you.
I'll take, and it again, John, you've got your rules and you don't budge. This is just one of those, I'm not budging on my career year theory rule because, John, it's like 95%, bro. And this is applied to NBA, MLB, it's tried and true. It is cam vetted, and I rock with it because it's almost never wrong.
And he's on the Madden cover, so it's just Kurt. There's just too many curses.
Dude, you just put the cherry on top of that take.
Okay, last team, the sad sack New York Giants, right? They got Russell Wilson, who's a stopgap for nothing. Jackson Dart, he probably got opinions on, and Jameis, who is really fun for fantasy if you have wide receivers, right? What do we do with Malik Neighbors, and what's the dream situation? Is there any chance that Jameis plays 16 games and Neighbors breaks the wide receiver record?
No, because this is going to be a mishmash, John. This is going to be some Wilson. I think it's good. Russell Wilson's going to be your week 1 starter, right? He'll be out there, and I don't know how long he's going to hold the job, but I don't see him holding the job all year. Jameis will be next man up. Jameis is going to have some moments, right? He's going to get New York excited, if only for a minute. And then Jameis is going to throw the hope ball. John, I call it the hope ball. Okay, the hope ball is Jameis is literally horizontal to the turf. He's got 3 defensive linemen on him, and he still throws the fucking ball up in the air. The Jameis throw, the hope ball. So we're going to get some hope balls from Jameis. He will lose the job, and Jackson Dart will be their quarterback in December. I think it's going to be a mess.
Okay, so Malik Neighbors, though, what are we doing? Would you take Neighbors or Brian Thomas Jr. in fantasy this year? I think talent-wise are both here.
I would take Thomas. I love them both, but it's just a super murky quarterback situation. And I can see, John, a lot of fantasy managers being really butthurt on Sundays about their Malik Neighbors pick because how bad the Giants quarterbacks are. They can't get my guy the ball. You know, a lot like the Garrett Wilson thing with all the QBs that they've had with the Jets, right? Like Garrett Wilson's phenomenal, okay? But how many Sundays are we sitting around like, are you ever going to throw this guy the damn ball?
And at some point, you're like, can Neighbors just throw it to himself?
Exactly. So, yeah, Neighbors isn't like a full fade for me, but he's not a guy that I got to have because of that weird quarterback room. Okay. But I do like Jackson Dart. I think Jackson Dart's a nice talent and a good pick by them.
Okay. So I wish we'd talk more about Superflex because I love talking late QBs. Dart, is he a Superflex guy for you?
No.
Like your third, fourth QB?
No, he's a waiver wire guy for me. Like in Dynasty, Jackson Dart absolutely needs to be taken in a Dynasty league, but in a redraft league, I would say definitely not to that. To me, he's a waiver wire guy. Leave him on waivers, at the end of the year when, like I said, when Wilson runs his course and Jameis runs his course, Jackson Dart's going to be out there, and I would just pick him up off waivers at that point. Okay.
All right, Rick, I think we've pretty much come to the end, unless you got one last little tidbit or one rule, one last little piece of knowledge you can hit to all our viewers.
I don't have anything else. Just the career year theory I'm big on, and I don't know, and just the volume guys. I love slot receivers. I love the guys that I know are going to catch me 80, 90, 100 grabs. Those are guys that I really kind of prioritize when I'm ranking wide receivers.
Okay, Rick, this is great. Hopefully we can have you back on later in the summer to finish the NFC because you come in hot, and I almost regret the questions I sent you. I should have made them a little more deeper and harder. I was like,
what do you mean? Your questions were phenomenal, dude. No, they were really good.
As we started, you dropping all these stats on me. I was like, oh my God. Okay.
You sent out the question and Andre gave them to me, and I did a little research to be better prepared for the bit here, man. So you did a great job with that.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thanks, Rick. Thanks to everyone watching. Make sure you like, subscribe. Fantasy NFL Today Show. I should have mentioned that earlier. And check us out. You can follow Rick at Rick Campbell Sports on Twitter. I'm at Jon Mosales, and then at Sport Ethos NFL. All right, thanks guys. Rick, this has been awesome. You really bring it every time.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.